Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to concentrate all about how to prevent frizz, or just the tips that I think are really helpful and do help me a lot when I am trying to prevent frizz. So this video will be broken up into two parts. The first part, I am going to be explaining my tips. The second part, you're going to be going through a wash day routine with me, and I'm going to be showing you some snippets of the things that I do that do help me prevent frizz. So without further ado, let's get started. One thing that's so important, and I find that when I do have conversations with people when I'm trying to help them out with their hair, is I ask them, are you clarifying your hair? When they do come to me telling me that they have things like frizz going on and like their products don't work and their hair just gets frizzy even when they style it. So product buildup is so important, and I find that is just a problem a lot of people have. So I feel like it's important for you to go ahead and take a look at the different types of shampoos that you have and the shampoos that you've been using. So I do know, like, for curly hair, it's really important to use moisturizing shampoos, and probably shampoos that are sulfate free more frequently than any other shampoo that might have sulfate or might be clarifying. But one thing that's really key is that, like, those shampoos that are clarifying, that are a little bit harsh or that do have sulfate, you shouldn't like disregard them 100% from your routine. You should probably use them in moderation, 1 to 2 times a month. There's even people with like finer hair that do use sulfate shampoos and clarifying shampoos every wash day, just because they do find that that works for them the best. So that's one thing to take into consideration. I will be putting down below some of the clarifying shampoos that I think are really helpful to remove product buildup. Another cause of frizz is maybe your hair is super dry and you're not putting the right amount of moisture that it needs. So it's important to do things like deep conditioning or just conditioning your hair to give it all of that moisture. And I do know that there's some people that they do put a lot of moisture into their hair and their hair gets frizzy, and that's because they're having an imbalance of protein and moisture. So you do need to take into consideration the characteristics of your hair. If your hair is fine, the porosity of your hair, if your hair is high porosity or low porosity. I do have a video going through that and explaining it, so I'll make sure to put it up here. You do want to go check that out. But it's important to know how much protein or moisture your hair needs. So for example, if your hair is fine and low porosity, it might need more protein than someone who has low porosity and coarse hair. So it's really important to take that into consideration. Your hair might just need more protein than moisture for it to, not get as frizzy. If you do have low porosity hair and if you're not using any type of heat or steam to allow your cuticles to open and for that treatment to penetrate into your hair, then you're not giving your hair any like moisture or what it needs. So oftentimes what I see with people with low porosity hair, and even myself, because that's the porosity I do have, is when I don't apply heat or any type of steam and I use a deep conditioner or something, my hair is still frizzy and it's like I didn't apply anything to my hair. So that's one thing that I do suggest, is if your hair is low porosity, make sure you're putting heat. That way your hair can actually absorb all of the moisture you're putting into it with those deep conditioners. You also need to keep in mind if your hair has too much moisture in it and if you're not putting any protein into your hair at all, if it's like in your shower products, in the bond builders you use, in the treatments, deep conditioners or stylers, if you're not using protein anywhere in your routine and it's just moisture, then that's going to cause so much frizz. So I think it's always so important to pay attention to the ingredients in the hair products that you are buying. That way you can be mindful of what you're putting into your hair. Now when it comes to stylers, I feel like that's one thing a lot of people do concentrate a lot on. Like, okay, my stylers are going to be the key of me getting rid of the frizz in my hair. And yeah, stylers are really important, but also don't forget about your wash day products. The shampoos, the conditioners, and the treatments you use, that's the foundation to a good routine and what is going to help your styling routine just look really, really beautiful. So stylers are really important. I find that you need to be mindful of the products that you're using, because for some people, if they're using things that are really moisturizing and just are like buttery, like the product I'll be using later on when you do watch the rest of the video, if they use something like that, that can actually cause excess frizz to their hair. And it's maybe because their hair might actually need something that's lighter than a butter, so maybe going for a light spray leave-in conditioner or something like that can be really helpful. Or just looking at the ingredients and maybe looking at the first few ingredients and just making sure that there's like a protein in there, because for some people, as I said earlier, you know, protein is just really helpful and is the key for them to get rid of frizz. So this is another way that ingredients are really important when it comes to your styling products. So for example, for my hair, I really do love rich products. I feel like I can also use products that are lightweight, but I do use a lot of products that are really buttery and like heavy, because it really helps with my hair, because my hair is super coarse and also super thick, so it really helps to like calm down that frizz. And when it comes to stylers too, using a gel can actually really help with frizz. I know I've talked to some people and they tell me that they're just using a cream in their routine and they're afraid of using gels just because they feel like it makes their hair hard and crunchy. But gels are supposed to do that because it creates this film over your hair which protects your hair while it's drying. But one thing that a lot of us didn't know is you can actually break apart that cast that the gel creates with some oil, or just by using a satin or a silk pillowcase or a headband thing, and just going like this to scrunch out the crunch, and then that will immediately soften up your curls. One thing that I feel like it's so important to know when it comes to like frizz and stylers is there's not one routine that will work for everyone. So let's say I tell you, oh my gosh, this is like the best routine ever and it just takes away all of my frizz, and then you go and do the same routine I do, it might not work for you, but hopefully it does. So that's one thing you need to be mindful about. Just because a routine works for one person, it does not mean it's going to work for you, because we all live in like different environments. The weather is different in like each place that we live in. We also have different hair characteristics. So it's just really important to kind of take the characteristics of your hair when it comes to your density, your porosity, and also the strand thickness of your hair when you do decide to buy stylers. Also keeping in mind that the weather you live in is just has like this tremendous impact on your hair. So for example, when it comes to gels, I really love to look for gels that do have a polyquat as a second ingredient, because polyquats tend to really help your hair in humidity. So I'll definitely be listing down below some of my favorite gels that do have a polyquat as a second ingredient, and I feel like they do help my hair a ton with frizz and just giving me long lasting results. Another thing that's really important when it comes to the climate where you live is some people don't like using as much glycerin in your hair products, because that is a humectant that will attract more moisture into your hair and just create all of this frizz. So that's why paying attention to your ingredients, seeing where these specific ingredients that can or cannot cause frizz is extremely important. Another thing that's really important when it comes to your styling routine, and just to like seal all of that goodness that you did to your hair with your stylers, your leave-in conditioners, and your gels, is to use an oil at the very end of your routine. So once your hair is completely dry, take some oil, a serum or something, put it through your hair, and that's going to lock in all of that moisture. We do need to remember that oils do not moisturize the hair. Oils help to lock in all of that moisture. Now, another thing that can actually really help with frizz, and that's something that I've learned because I feel like I did a lot of this, is the way you dry your hair. So sometimes air drying can cause a lot of frizz, and that's something that I honestly feel like I did for a years ago, and I can compare how my hair looked like before to how it looks like now because I do diffuse my hair a lot more. So I find that diffusing is definitely amazing when it comes to helping to prevent frizz, but the way you diffuse is really important, because if you go and just take a diffuser and you start like literally going like this to your hair while it's wet, that's going to create so much frizz. So you need to be mindful of how you're diffusing. What I like to do is, first I do like to take the diffuser, I like to hover diffuse. So for like 10 to 15 minutes, I literally put the diffuser like this and go around my hair. That's going to help me create a really nice cast. I'm going to feel a little like slight crunch to my hair. Once I feel that little crunch, I'd start cupping the diffuser into my hair section by section. I do not like taking like a big group of like curls and putting it into the diffuser because that's going to disturb a lot of curls. So I do have a diffusing video that it is a little bit old, but I'm going to put it right here. If you do want to go watch that, that way you can see how I diffuse my hair. So are you using like a regular towel to kind of dry your hair? Because if you're using a regular towel, that's going to give your hair so much frizz. So if you do like you know, drying your hair up a little bit after you come out of the shower or after you're done styling, I do recommend a microfiber towel or just a towel that's designed to like actually dry your hair. So I'm going to be linking some of my favorites down below. This is so important, and I feel like a lot of people are not aware of this. So breakage can actually give your hair tons and tons of frizz. So I think it's really important, if you find like your hair is like super tangled, before you shampoo your hair, do a pre-poo, apply conditioner, detangle your hair gently before you shampoo. Things like that can be really helpful when it comes to breakage. And also using things like bond builders, if it's like the Olaplex #3 or the Curlsmith Bond Rehab Salve, using things like that can really help strengthen your hair. And also just being mindful of the amount of damage your hair has, if any. So we all know environmental factors, diffusing your hair, heat, bleaching, dyeing your hair. There's just like a million and one things that can go into hair damage. So being mindful of that is really important, because the thing with breakage is if your hair is like breaking off and then you're styling it, it's just not going to clump really nicely with like the rest of your curls, and it's just going to like stick out and create all of this frizz. So yeah, that's one thing that's super important. The way you style your hair is so important. So for me, the way that I find I get the last frizz in my hair is when I style my hair by sections. So if you see all of my videos, I literally part my hair when I'm styling, do small sections, put my product through like that, and then I brush style. So you can definitely also choose what technique you want to do when it comes to styling your hair. If it's using a brush to create clumps, finger coiling, finger rolling, all of those things are really helpful when it comes to helping prevent frizz. So now that I've explained all of that to you, we're gonna go to this wash day that I have right now, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I did to help my hair have less frizz. It's wash day for me right now, so we're about to implement all of the steps that I talked about into this routine. So the first thing that I will be doing, and I'm going to do it out of the shower just for the sake of this video, is we're going to be doing like a pre-poo to my hair. I sometimes decide to do a pre-poo with a conditioner. Sometimes I use an oil or something like that. So I'm going to section my hair and we're going to apply the conditioner in sections to gently detangle my hair before I shampoo. And what this is going to do is it's going to help like me prevent breakage, because sometimes when you're like shampooing your hair it can just be really harsh. So let's get into it. So as y'all can see, my hair is super tangled and I like sectioning off my hair because this way I can try my best to concentrate on each strand, give it some love, and not break it as easily, because if I were to detangle my hair all at once that will cause a ton of breakage. I do have my spray bottle right here, so I'm going to wet my hair down and I'm just going to apply some of that conditioner. I'm going to use the Cocoa Creme conditioner from Carol's Daughter to pre-poo. I really like using this conditioner to pre-poo because it really has a nice lip to it, as y'all can see. So first, when I start detangling my hair, I always like to start off by finger detangling and then going in with a brush, just so that I can try my best to prevent as much breakage as I can. Now I'm going in with a brush. As y'all can see, I'm all done putting that conditioner in my hair to detangle it. So now my hair is all ready to be shampooed, and it's going to be a super easy process. The shampoo is going to slide through my hair and remove any product buildup, because I'm going to be using a clarifying shampoo today. I'm going to be using the detox shampoo from Way, one of my favorite detox shampoos that just clarifies your hair. And this shampoo does have a surfactant in it, so it's going to just remove buildup really nicely. So let me go shampoo and I'll be back. I am now out of the shower. I washed my hair like 15 minutes ago. So now we're moving on to deep conditioner. And I'm kind of going to explain to you the thought process on why I'm using this deep conditioner for this wash day. So right now, y'all know I clarified my hair. I used the Way Detox shampoo, which does have a surfactant, so that really stripped my hair and it just made it really clean, removed any product buildup that I could possibly have. Now my hair is able to absorb any product that I put into it really well. So I'm going to be using the matcha green tea and wild apple blossom hair mask from Not Your Mother's. I'm going to be leaving this in my hair for about 25 minutes, and I am going to be applying some heat to it because my hair is low porosity. This also does not have any proteins in it. And for this wash day, I'm not going to be really doing like a protein treatment because I kind of have been doing bond builders with protein. I also did a protein treatment a few weeks ago, so I don't think it's time to implement protein into my routine yet because my hair is low porosity and coarse. So my hair does prefer more moisture than protein. So like I need way more moisture and some protein in my routine. But if your hair is another porosity or another texture than mine, your hair might need more protein and less moisture. So those are definitely things to take into consideration. So that's why I'm using this today. And yeah, let's get started. I am going to be sectioning my hair to do this. That's another thing when conditioning your hair or applying a deep conditioner, section your hair, because if I just apply all of my conditioner like this to all of my hair, I'm going to be missing all of these sections in between. That's one mistake I used to do before. I literally used to like take a glob of conditioner or hair mask, put it to my hair all over, and then later on when my hair was dry after styling, I'd have all of this like frizz in between, or my curls wouldn't curl properly, and it's because I wasn't sectioning. So let's do that. When I am applying my deep conditioners or conditioners, I do not like my hair to be soaking wet because for me personally, that really dilutes the product, and since my hair is really coarse and thick, my hair craves that moisture and all of that product as a whole. So I find when I do apply it, when my hair is like not super wet, my hair just gets way more saturated. And now I'm going to be using this instead of my steamer. I do tend to use my steamer a lot to allow my cuticles to open when deep conditioning, but I decided to buy this. So it's like a heat cap, and you connect it, you control the settings right here. So we're gonna use that today. And I got this because I had one. The last one I had broke. It lasted like a year, so I decided to try another brand. So hopefully this one's better. But I'm just gonna go sit on my bed, put this on my head. Wait. Okay, put it on my head. Oh, this fits nicely, okay. Now we've reached the styling part. So this part is really important, and you need to think what styling products fit the needs of your hair. So the products I'm going to be using today is the Camille Rose Almond J Twisting Butter, and this is a really rich and heavy product, which is really good for my coarse and high density hair, just because it really does help to calm down that frizz. And then I'm going to be using the curl defining jelly from Kristen S on top of it. This is one of my favorite gels to use, just because it does have a polyquat as the second ingredient, which means that it just really works really well in humidity. So this combination, I tried it my last wash day. It was literally phenomenal. Barely any frizz, so much definition, and lasted me a good 4 days with a minimal refresh on day 3. So let's get started and let's style with these products. The way you choose to style your hair is really important. When I style, I like to do it in sections, because that's one of the ways that gives me the less frizz to my hair. So that's one of my tips for you. Section your hair depending on how much hair you have. That's like how many sections you're gonna do. So you might need like 3 sections, or maybe 5, or maybe 10 or more sections. It definitely depends. It's something that I did play around with when I first started styling, just to see how many sections works the best for me. What I found is the smaller the sections, the less frizz. These 2 styling products right here are protein free, and as I said, my hair always needs like more moisture than protein. The shampoo that I did use for this routine did have some protein already, which I do love implementing proteins in my wash day routine, because I find that that's how my hair handles it the best. Sometimes I do decide to use some styling products that do have protein in them, but I do take into consideration what I've done to my hair, like my past few wash days, like what treatments I've done. So right now I think my hair is like really set. I feel like I've done protein treatments, I've done bond builders that have protein within the last 2 weeks. So I feel like my hair will do really well with 2 moisturizing products that do not have proteins. So anytime you got a product, I feel like it's really good to take a look at the ingredient list. That's one thing that I always do when I'm gonna go style. I feel like now I'm kind of like mindful, and I know the products that I have that do have protein and don't, so it's really easy for me to like grab them and go. But if I am using a new product for the first time and I'm not familiar with it, I take a look at the ingredient list. Usually the first 5 to 7 ingredients, it's like on the highest in the product. So this is the Camille Rose Almond J Twisting Butter. As you see, this is a really buttery and rich product. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna apply the jelly on top of the butter. This is a step you also want to kind of play around with product amounts, because I know for some people, if they use a lot of one product, that does create a lot of frizz for them. So sometimes they do need to use like less product, or even emulsify with some water, and that definitely works for them. I've noticed that with like some people that do have like finer hair or maybe less density. And another thing that I do notice that works for me in just preventing frizz is honestly raking my gel through my hair and brushing it through, which you'll see in a few minutes. Some people don't brush or rake their gel into their hair. Instead, they just like glaze it over their hair at the end, or you know, scrunch it in. But for me, I find that does create more like frizz, and my style just doesn't last as long compared to when I do brush in my gel. So this is one thing that literally changed the game for me, and it's brushing my hair, just because it creates these really nice clumps. So look at this. It really smooths the frizz down, creates this really nice clump, which later on just dries up with no frizz. And if I were to just leave my hair like this, which I'm honestly planning to do a video really soon just to show y'all a comparison, but if I do like just leave my hair like this is gonna dry with like so much frizz. So yeah, brushing it through, so important. Okay, so I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna scrunch it in. So this is one step that I do like doing in sections, which is, you know, scrunching it up. Because if I do kind of scrunch my hair at the end when all of it is styled, I find that does create more frizz for me. So that's something you can experiment with. See if your hair likes being scrunched like this individually, like mine. I know some people, they say they do not like scrunching their hair at all, even if it's in sections, because it still creates frizz for them. So try to see with this step what it does for you. So there are so many different ways that you can achieve no frizz in your hair. It's not by only using a brush. So one thing that I do sometimes, and I'll put a link right here, is I do have a video doing this, is you can kind of do finger rolling or you can do finger coiling. So basically I like taking my brush first, and that I kind of like seeing where these curls go, if they're going down or up. I think these are going down, and then you do finger rolling like this. You let it go, and it just creates this really nice ringlet to your hair, which allows your hair to dry with really little or no frizz later on. So that's another styling technique you can do. I do find when I do this to my whole entire head, I feel like I literally have no frizz, and I do find that it does work way better than brush styling for like no frizz at all. But honestly, this takes too long and I don't have time to be, you know, doing this to my hair every single day. So this is something that I kind of do more of, like if I'm going somewhere, like if it's like a wedding, you know, special event or something like that. So another thing you can do is, again, brushing it through, and then you can do finger coils to your hair like this. Kind of see what way your hair like goes naturally. And this is another technique that really does help with frizz. But for today, we're just gonna go with brush styling because it's just the fastest way for me, I find. So I'm gonna go do this to all of my hair. Once my hair is all styled, I'm going to be back. I do have more videos, a lot of videos doing this to my whole entire head if you do want to see this, and I'll make sure to link them down below. I'm all done styling, so as y'all can see, my hair is all clumped up. So one thing you want to make sure is when your hair is styled, you want to make sure that there's no frizz, because if there's any frizz while your hair is wet, it's potentially going to dry with that frizz. So when I'm done styling, I always look throughout my hair, because sometimes honestly I can catch some pieces that I might have missed, or maybe some pieces that might need more water or more gel or something, and it just gets frizzy. So when I'm done, I look around and I just go ahead and I fix those pieces. So now this is such an important step for me. We are going to diffuse my hair. I do have a really old diffusing video. Honestly, what I do in that video, it's kind of similar to what I still do today. I just have a different diffuser, which is the DOESN. So when I do start diffusing, I like to start by hover diffusing for about 10 minutes, I'll say, and then I start feeling like this cast, like my hair hardens from the gel or the product, or it gets a slight cast. It depends on the hold of the gel. Once I start feeling that cast after hover diffusing all around like this, I like to cup parts of my hair into the bowl of the diffuser, leave it in for like 10 to 15 seconds for each section, and just do that throughout all of my head. So I'm gonna put that video down below if you do want to go check it out. I will be updating it soon, but I'll be back once my hair is dry, because there is going to be one last step. Finally, the last part of wash day, sealing my hair with an oil. This is going to lock in all of that moisture that I put into my hair. So sometimes I like going through my hair and dividing curl clumps. Sometimes I put it in my hair as like a whole, as you can see in many of my other videos. So this is how my hair looked at the end, super defined and moisturized. Now another thing is how I sleep with my curls. I like using this silk scrunchie, which I'll put the link below, and I put that on my hair, and then I get a satin or silk scarf, make it into a triangle, wrap it around my hair like this, and just tie it in the back. And sleeping with my hair like this definitely helps me prevent frizz, and it gives me a long lasting routine. So that's it for this video. Right now, this is my day 2 hair. And one thing I do want to remind y'all is I feel like, there's ways to prevent frizz, but I feel like frizz isn't like 100% avoidable. So I feel like honestly every wash day I do have frizz somewhere in my hair because I'm not perfect. I feel like I sometimes might miss a spot or not apply product right, or something else can happen. So also learn to embrace your frizz because I think it's part of embracing your curly hair. It's going to happen. It's not like you go outside and your hair is not going to get a little bit of frizz, because honestly, once I step outside and if I'm outside for a few hours, my hair gets frizz somewhere, even if I'm using the best product out there in the market. But of course, that product does help a little. And the tips that I did share in this video, I do find they are really helpful in helping me prevent frizz and just having my curls have a lot more definition. Also, I did apply to the Sephora squad this year for 2022. So if my videos have helped you, the tips that I do give does have helped you, or the products I've recommended, it will be really, like, I will really appreciate it if you can go and leave me a testimonial. It will just really help strengthen my application when Sephora does decide who they want to include in their squad this year. So I'll be linking down below where you can go leave a testimonial for me. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.